How's it going, guys? Trader Neil here, back at you with another crypto video. So today I'm going to be showing you guys a couple charts including Bitcoin, and I'm going to be telling you guys what I think about cryptos right this moment now that Bitcoin has hit 110K, Ethereum has made new highs of the year at 2,800, and I just want to pretty much talk to you guys about where I think the markets are going and if we are going to continue to have a bullish June or if we are going to pull back, and I'll tell you what I think. But before we get started, guys, it would mean a lot to me if you like this video, subscribe to my channel at Trader Neil, of course, smash that like button, and of course, guys, hit that bell icon so you don't miss any of my future videos. You know, I post videos here every single week, guys, give you guys the alpha, and then I take a look at all your favorite cryptos. So if you guys ever want me to look at some of the cryptos you guys are eyeing, definitely put them in the comment section anytime too, okay? All right, so before we start looking at some charts, let's take a look at coin market cap here. So right now across the crypto space, you know, Bitcoin's trading around 108,000. Ethereum did tap like upper 2800s this morning. And so both of these coins have been doing quite well this week. And then Solana even going up to the high 160s this morning. So we've had quite a bit of pullback today. As well as right now, the market cap of all cryptos is sitting at about 3.4 trillion right now, guys. And then, you know, Bitcoin dominance still very high. And in terms of the fear and greed index here, guys, we are still sitting at a 65. And so we are actually on the greedier side of things, just to keep that in mind. And then just looking at something that I find interesting, we are going to pull up the altcoin index here, altcoin season index here on CoinGlass, and just take a quick look at where I see things right now, guys, and what this chart is telling us. So I know we've talked about alt season and a potential alt season coming up ever since I started pulling up charts like this in February. Right now, guys, looking at this altcoin season index, we are still just ranging down here in the Bitcoin part of this area. So what you guys can see is pretty much on the highs here between, like, you know, 80 and 100. That's pretty much your extremes, showing that whenever this chart is in this top area, that's when altcoins are pushing, they're doing well. Just like whenever these peaks were hit back in December, this is when Ethereum was sitting, you know, around 4,000. Altcoins had triple decks, had double triple decks in this period, and then boom, 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 up and up. And right now, we still have this accumulation period in this Bitcoin season area, which, you know, as you guys can see, during summers, this is pretty much the time where you see a lot of this accumulation. So back here in May of 23, all the way until really we broke out at the end of July, we stood in the Bitcoin season area for a while. Back here in June of 2019 to October 2019, we spent a lot of time here, and back here in June to August of 2018, we spent a lot of time down here, which is pretty much telling us, guys, that we see a lot of altcoins pop off in quarter 3, quarter 4 of the year. And so I do think if we get any significant dips across alts this summer, this is just going to be a nice buying opportunity for later this year. So keep that in mind. And so before we take a look at BTC specifically, I just want to talk to you guys about something. In general, I think it's really important that we realize, like, even if we are going to have a quote unquote joyful June where we see a lot of coins pumping into this month, I think it's very, very wise to keep in mind that almost every summer, guys, we see a lot of ranging price action on BTC and a lot of downwards price action actually on altcoins. The summer is typically a bearish period for coins. And in my opinion, is the summer a time to stop paying attention, you know, go away and go to the beach and on vacation, like the hedge fund guys that, you know, they turn on their sell algos on their hedge funds, and then, you know, that's it for the summer. I don't necessarily think you need to be doing that. Of course, vacation time and hanging out is very important. But at the same time, what I will say is that this is also a really opportunistic period to accumulate your favorite altcoins. So definitely keep that in mind. All right, guys. So we're going to be talking about my sponsor, Breakout prop firm, really quick, guys. Are you someone in crypto that has had a lack of liquidity? You're seeing all these P&Ls posted on Twitter. Your friends are flexing their P&Ls. They're flexing their dollar P&Ls. And you just want to get into that game and you want to be flexing your own P&Ls. Well, fear no more. Breakout Prop Firm is going to be that prop firm that will help you do exactly that. Because with Breakout, guys, this is essentially your way of playing with someone else's money. In fact, for just $800 with a one-step evaluation, you can potentially start trading with up to $100,000 of an account size here, guys. With $100K, you could be trading big money with only putting up small risk here, guys. And in my opinion, that is the best thing you can be doing. All you have to do with buying the evaluation is past the 10K account goal, or if you get any of the smaller accounts past those account goals, all you have to do is trade to that amount. Boom, you hit that amount and bam, you get $100,000 of money to play with, and then you can have that money to be able to trade anytime. All you have to do is follow the max daily loss and max drawdown parameters, but you can trade up to 5x leverage, guys. They have tons of coins on their exchange. As you guys can see, they've got Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, and they've got tons of altcoins. They list altcoins pretty much the day that they come out. And so if you guys want to trade with up to $100,000 of someone else's money and be able to trade those altcoins we'll be talking about in the rest of the video today, definitely check out Breakout Prop Firm. Here's the URL, and then use my code in the top right here to be able to get a nice discount on your evaluation. Definitely worth it. And then let me know how you guys like Breakout in the comment section below. All right, guys, back to the video. Okay, so with that all out of the way about like seasonality, my thoughts on, you know, how that will potentially play a part in the market, let's look at Bitcoin first and foremost. So here on BTC, guys, Bitcoin put in Monday lows all the way up here at around 110,600. That was this huge, nice move up on BTC. Pretty much we saw at the very AM hours on Monday into about like New York close on Monday evening. So huge move up. This was, what was this, about a 4.5, really almost a 5% move up on BTC, a $5,000 move. So that's pretty damn impressive. And so looking at BTC here, even today, we've tried to break above those Monday highs at least twice, and so far it has been a failure, not gonna lie. And thus far we're just seeing ranging price action, kind of similar to what we saw right here, guys. And so here on BTC, what I will tell you first and foremost is I am not going to be able to be bullish Bitcoin in the short term until 110,440 is cracked. So I would really like to see this level flipped at least on the 4 hour, because if we do see a flip there, I could for sure see a move all the way back up to, you know, all-time highs here at 112. And then in my opinion, if we do crack above there, it's very likely we continue on. But until we see above 110 at least, I do think downside risk is likely. We are sitting at a higher time frame value area high here, guys. If I take a volume pool from the beginning of our range to current price, that is right where we're sitting right now on this pullback, around 108,370. And so if Bitcoin can't hold here, I think the next area you got to be looking for is at least 106,790. We do have a 4-hour demand zone right above that, about here at 107,700 to keep in mind. I could definitely see, you know, Bitcoin wicking down into this level and then still closing above the value area high here. That would actually still be fine. So keep that scenario in mind. But for now, you know, I think it's very wise to look at your next support at 106 to be your next area of interest. And honestly, guys, like until that area gets hit, if Bitcoin loses this level that it's currently at, I would be very cautious with taking fresh longs in this market. You know, that's a key SR level. A retest of that in the 4-hour 200 moving average wouldn't be bad. But as you guys can see here, we are in a range on BTC very clearly now, with 100K as our lows and pretty much 110 to 112 as our highs. And so I think it's very wise to be just playing this as a range as such. You know, you don't have to be looking, in my opinion, for overall like huge downside targets or anything now near 74K or anything like that. That only comes into play, in my opinion, if 100K is lost. But for now, guys, you know, just treat this as a range and don't, and in my opinion, I wouldn't be looking for any sort of breakout plays at the moment on BTC. All right. Next thing we will take a look at is Ethereum here, guys. So ETH currently has been quite strong, guys. If you guys are following me on my Twitter, which is at Neil Aurora 16 right here on my X Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Ethereum just put in a move today to retest this big SR zone. So as you guys can see, you've got wicks here, daily supply zone here in this area, and Ethereum pretty much filled that gap to a T all the way up to 2880. And so seeing that now, I do think it's very possible Ethereum gets a pullback to this zone. But this is the thing, guys. If Ethereum comes down to this zone, I really would like to see it hold 2720 down to the 200 moving average here. So that's what I posted on my Twitter, was that when Ethereum cracked above the 200 moving average and closed above there, that was your trigger to see higher prices. And so far Ethereum is holding above there. But if Ethereum loses that level, then in my opinion, guys, you're going to have to start looking for lower prices, including range lows again at 2380. And of course, if we do see a larger pullback on Ethereum, some targets I have come all the way down to about 2123. But for now, I'm not too worried about that as long as Ethereum is above the 200 moving average, so just keep that in mind. But, I have a potential long opportunity here on ETH if we do hold that zone. But overall, as long as we are under this 2880 level, I won't be looking for this target just yet at 3300. All right, couple other things, guys, that I do want you all to keep in mind here. First off, Hyperliquid here doing extremely well, guys, extremely well. So you guys know that I am one of the biggest Hyperliquid bulls out there, and so far Hyperliquid has been on an absolute tear in this market. I am really enjoying what I'm seeing. Only thing here is now we do have some daily bearish divergence on Hyperliquid to keep in mind. We do have one drive here, as you guys can see, higher highs on price, lower highs on the RSI, so that is a bit of a worry for me at the moment. And so definitely keep that in mind, because until we do make a lower low in price, this divergence isn't technically locked in. And so what I am paying attention to is this daily demand zone about here at 33 to 34.4. If we can hold that area and continue this uptrend, I could actually see one more drive on Hyperliquid, potentially something like this, come down, retest, maybe one more drive, and then get a real dump for maybe like an extended pullback. But just keep that in mind. All right, guys, and then one chart to really pay attention to right now is USDT dominance here, guys. And so USDT dominance here on the daily chart, it did get a pretty strong rejection here at our last SR level. So when Bitcoin came down to 100K, this is when USDT dominance tapped this 4.98% level. And technically it did reject from there. But at the moment, guys, I would be careful here, because USDT dominance technically did put in a change of structure here, a change of character with these higher highs compared to this 4.69% high. And so what I will tell you is that if USDT dominance reclaims on the daily the 200 moving average here, as well as this last SR area right at 4.68%, I could see a potential move up on these markets. I would prefer USDT dominance rejects at 4.68% and comes down, because that lines up pretty well with some of those zones we're looking at on Bitcoin, like 107. It lines up pretty well with that Ethereum long zone we were looking at as well. But if USDT dominance reclaims this level, guys, gonna have to start being careful on not only Bitcoin but on altcoins, because the likelihood of it coming up and retesting this level at 4.97%, which was where Bitcoin had ended up at 100K, and it's where Ethereum ended up at 2400. All of those levels all happened in this area. So keep that in mind, that if USDT dominance is to be bullish here, we are probably going to see a bit more extended of a pullback. Check out on the 4-hour as well here, guys. You had a nice couple drives of divergence here on the RSI. As you can see, you had 3 drives. Now we're just getting a bounce off of that. And so I do think that, bulls can still pull through here. I'm not going to lie, like, it's not looking terrible yet. But I will say, like, this is exactly where you're gonna want to see rejection on USDT dominance. So keep that in mind. All right, and I'm not gonna leave this video without showing you guys your favorite thing, and that is some altcoins that I'm looking at. And so some of your favorite altcoins that I'm going to check out, one being is SPX 6900. I haven't looked at this coin before with you guys, but I'm not a big fan of the Murad coins, not going to lie, but this one has been on an absolute tear. It's insane. Since the beginning in middle of March, this has put in a 3x move. And so what I would be looking at here, guys, is on SPX 69, we never had a daily close anywhere above this zone. Actually, this did have a higher high on a daily close. Let's see what happens here, because we got the confirmed higher high on the daily close, and right now it is holding pretty much that last daily SR level. So let's see what happens at 1.55. This could potentially continue up here. I'm not gonna lie, you don't have any bearish divergence at the moment, and honestly I would just be looking to potentially ride trend here on SPX. I think it's very possible it does come down and fully fill this 4-hour order block. And if it does do that and you see a nice wick up and it closes back above, then I would be for sure interested in playing a continuation setup. So for sure keep that in mind. All right, and another coin that I am very much paying attention to is ZBCN here, guys. So ZBCN has been an extremely strong coin in this market, very strangely so. This put in a long accumulation period pretty much from the beginning of summer 2024 into where it broke out here in 2025. So it was about a year, and ever since then it put in a 4x move. And during the market, while the overall market was pumping here, this started pulling back. Now, on the other hand, I am really liking what I'm seeing. You do have some bullish divergence here on the 4-hour, and it has already got a pop up already, but I am liking this breakout setup. And so just keep that in mind, that I think this falling wedge could potentially still have some juice left in it. And if it does, this would take us another, let's see, 43% up potentially. So keep that in mind. Okay, so there's that coin. And then another one that I haven't showed you guys before that I am very much paying attention to here is Toncoin. So Toncoin here, definitely one to pay attention to if you guys haven't already. On the higher time frame, this is starting to look pretty fantastic. And even if it comes down one more time for another tap of the 786 level at 2.95, I still would be interested in picking some more up there, because we have a value area low here, and this was your cap all throughout pretty much 2023 on Toncoin at 2.5. Toncoin couldn't get above the highs there, and once it finally did, this thing absolutely took off. So if this comes down and retests this area, I would still be interested in buying. It's struggling with the 12-hour 200 MA right now, but Toncoin is definitely one to keep in mind. You guys, Toncoin has been, under some scrutiny with, the Ton director being thrown into like some French prison and things like that, the CEO. And then of course, it's a huge Telegram coin, and so they have lots of partnerships. They have pretty much like the biggest multimedia messaging app in the whole world. And so definitely a coin to pay attention to, and in my opinion, accumulate for the long term. And then of course, cannot leave without talking about my baby here, Pepecoin. And so Pepecoin here, guys, I think is shaping up still for a potential move to the upside, as long as Pepe is holding above this big SR level here at 0.011. And so Pepe for now, is pulling back, but as long as it holds this level here at 1.224, I am still going to continue being bullish on Pepecoin, because I really do think this coin has some juice left in it. And as long as it continues closing the dailies above really like 1.2, I could see it coming back and running up to these highs. And it has put in a nice accumulation structure here, guys, I can't lie. And it has also put in a nice higher low structure here on the daily chart as well. And so definitely keep Pepe in mind. If Ethereum closes above that 2880 level, this is one that I think will run very, very nicely. All right. And so we pretty much talked about a lot of things today, guys. Just in summary, we talked about altcoin season potentially coming up at least at the end of the summer. We talked about the fear and greed index on cryptos. We talked about some of the big coins. We talked about Bitcoin, altcoins, and in like the most important fashion here, we are going into a pretty bearish period traditionally, which is the summer months across the market. So definitely keep that in mind. Could we have an extended pullback? Yes, it's very possible. But at the same time, do I think that's going to present opportunity? Very much so. I definitely think so. And in the short term, I think we're going to see some bounces across coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum especially. So definitely keep your eyes peeled and have your order set, or at least have a plan for when you want to buy. But at the same time, do I think we could potentially have a joyful June coming up? Very possible, but let's just see what happens. All right, guys. And so I hope you enjoyed that video. This is Trader Neil signing out. If you stayed till the end of the video, I would love for you to put in the comment section below, Joyful June. All right, guys. Have a fantastic rest of your day. This is Trader Neil signing out. Peace.